Have you ever been told that kindness is a virtue? That being kind will bring you happiness, success, and fulfillment. Well, I'm here to tell you that kindness can actually ruin your life. Yes, you heard me right. Kindness can be your downfall. Let me explain how. First, when you're too kind, people start to take advantage of you. They see your kindness as a weakness, and they'll exploit it for their own gain. They'll ask for favors, borrow money, and expect you to drop everything to help them. And because you're kind, you'll say yes, even when it's inconvenient or detrimental to your own well-being. You'll find yourself stretched thin, exhausted and resentful, all because you couldn't say no. I've seen it happen time and time again. People who are too kind end up being taken for granted. They're the ones who are always there for others, but when they need help themselves, no one is around. They give and give until they have nothing left to give, and then they're left alone and empty. But it's not just about being taken advantage of. When you're too kind, you also miss out on opportunities to stand up for yourself and assert your own needs. You're so busy putting others first that you forget about your own dreams and goals. You sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of others, and in the end, you're left with nothing but regrets. Second, kindness can make you a pushover. When you're always putting others' needs before your own, you send a message that your own needs don't matter. People will start to expect you to agree with them, to go along with their plans, and to never rock the boat. They'll see you as someone who can be easily manipulated and controlled. And when you do try to assert yourself, people will be shocked and offended. They'll accuse you of being selfish or unkind because they've come to expect you to always put their needs first. They'll guilt trip you into submission, and you'll find yourself right back where you started, a doormat for others to walk all over. I know it's hard to break out of this pattern. It feels good to be liked and appreciated, and it's tempting to keep doing what others expect of you. But in the long run, it's not sustainable. You'll end up feeling resentful, unfulfilled, and even angry. You'll start to question why you're always the one making sacrifices, and you'll wonder what your life would be like if you put yourself first for once. Third, kindness can hold you back from success. In today's cutthroat world, nice guys often finish last. To get ahead, you need to be assertive, competitive, and sometimes even ruthless. You need to be willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, and to put your own interests first. But when you're too kind, you're often hesitant to do these things. You don't want to step on anyone's toes or hurt anyone's feelings. You don't want to be seen as aggressive or selfish. So you hold back, you play it safe, and you miss out on opportunities to advance your career or achieve your goals. I've seen so many talented, hardworking people get passed over for promotions or big breaks because they were too nice. They didn't want to rock the boat or ruffle any feathers, so they stayed quiet and let others take the credit. They didn't want to be seen as cutthroat or competitive, so they didn't go after what they really wanted. But here's the thing, success isn't handed out based on who's the nicest. It's earned through hard work, determination, and a willingness to take risks. If you're always putting others first and sacrificing your own ambitions, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be held back by your own kindness. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, kindness can prevent you from being honest and authentic. When you're too focused on being kind and not hurting anyone's feelings, you start to censor yourself. You hold back your true thoughts and opinions, and you present a watered-down version of yourself to the world. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or sugarcoating the truth. And over time, they start to lose trust in you. They start to wonder what you really think and feel, and they question whether they can rely on you to be honest with them. Moreover, when you're constantly suppressing your true self in the name of kindness, you start to lose touch with who you really are. You become disconnected from your own thoughts, feelings, and desires. You start to feel like a fraud, like you're living someone else's life instead of your own. And that's no way to live. It's exhausting, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsustainable. You can't be truly happy or successful if you're not being true to yourself. You can't build deep, meaningful relationships if you're not being honest and authentic. So what's the solution? How can you avoid the pitfalls of kindness while still being a good person? The answer is simple balance. You need to find a way to be kind and compassionate while also setting boundaries and taking care of yourself. That means learning to say no when you need to, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It means speaking up for yourself and asserting your own needs and desires, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. It means being honest and authentic, even if it means having difficult conversations or facing some conflict. It's not easy, I know. It takes practice and courage to break out of the pattern of overkindness. But trust me, it's worth it. When you learn to balance kindness with self-care and authenticity, you'll be amazed at how much better your life becomes. You'll have more energy and enthusiasm for the things that matter to you. You'll build deeper, more meaningful relationships with people who truly value and respect you. You'll achieve more success and fulfillment in your career and personal life. And most importantly, you'll feel more at peace with yourself and the world around you. So don't let kindness ruin your life. Learn to be kind in a way that nurtures and supports your own well-being. Set boundaries, speak your truth, and take care of yourself first. Because at the end of the day, the greatest kindness you can show to the world is to be the best, most authentic version of yourself. And that, my friends, is how kindness can ruin your life if you're not careful. But it doesn't have to be that way. With a little wisdom and a lot of courage, you can learn to be kind in a way that empowers and uplifts you. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first. Because when you do that, everything else will fall into place. Let me share a personal story with you. When I was younger, I used to be the epitome of kindness. I would go out of my way to help others, even if it meant sacrificing my own time, energy, and resources. I thought that being kind would make me happy and fulfilled, but instead it left me feeling drained and resentful. I remember one particular instance where a friend asked me to help them move. I had my own plans that weekend, but I didn't want to let them down. So I canceled my plans and spent the entire weekend lugging heavy boxes and furniture up and down stairs. By the end of it, I was exhausted and sore, and I felt like I had wasted my precious free time. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that my friend didn't even seem particularly grateful. They thanked me briefly, but then they went on with their life as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, I was left feeling used and unappreciated. That experience was a wake-up call for me. I realized that I had been so focused on being kind to others that I had neglected to be kind to myself. I had put everyone else's needs before my own, and as a result, I was burning out. From that moment on, I started to make a conscious effort to balance my kindness with self-care. I started saying no to requests that didn't align with my own priorities and values. I started setting boundaries with people who tried to take advantage of my kindness. And I started being more honest and authentic in my interactions with others. It wasn't easy at first. I felt guilty and selfish for putting my own needs first. I worried that people would think I was unkind or uncaring. But as I continued to practice this new way of being, I started to see the benefits. I had more energy and enthusiasm for the things that mattered to me. I felt more confident and self-assured in my interactions with others. And perhaps most importantly, I started attracting people into my life who appreciated and respected me for who I truly was. One of the biggest lessons I learned through this process was the importance of setting boundaries. I realized that being kind didn't mean saying yes to everything and everyone. In fact, sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no. When you set boundaries, you're communicating to others what you will and will not tolerate. You're telling them that you value yourself and your own needs and that you expect to be treated with respect and consideration. And when you do that, you create space for healthier, more balanced relationships in your life. Of course, setting boundaries isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable and even scary at times. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And the payoff is well worth the effort. Another important lesson I learned was the power of authenticity. When you're too focused on being kind and pleasing others, it's easy to lose sight of who you really are. You start to mold yourself into what you think others want you to be, rather than being true to yourself. But here's the thing people can sense when you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're holding back or pretending to be someone you're not. And over time, that lack of authenticity can erode trust and connection in your relationships. On the other hand, when you're honest and authentic, you create space for real, meaningful connection. You allow others to see the real you, flaws and all. And when you do that, you build deeper, more intimate relationships based on trust and mutual understanding. Of course, being authentic doesn't mean being rude or insensitive. It's important to balance honesty with tact and compassion. But it does mean speaking your truth even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. Ultimately, the key to avoiding the pitfalls of kindness is to find a balance between taking care of others and taking care of yourself. It's about learning to be kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable rather than draining and depleting. And the good news is, when you do that, everyone benefits. When you take care of yourself first, you have more energy and resources to give to others. When you set healthy boundaries, you create space for more fulfilling and reciprocal relationships. And when you're honest and authentic, you inspire others to do the same. So if you're someone who struggles with being too kind for your own good, I encourage you to start small. Start by saying no to one request that doesn't align with your priorities. Start by setting one boundary with someone who tends to take advantage of your kindness. Start by being honest about one thing that you've been holding back. And as you continue to practice these new ways of being, be patient with yourself. Remember that change takes time and there will be moments of discomfort and even resistance along the way. But trust that by being kind to yourself first, you're ultimately being kind to everyone else in your life as well. Because here's the truth: the world needs more kindness, but it also needs more people who are willing to be kind to themselves. It needs more people who are willing to set boundaries, speak their truth, and take care of their own needs. And when we all start doing that, we create a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves. So go out there and be kind, but remember to be kind to yourself first. Remember that your own needs and desires matter just as much as anyone else's. And remember that by taking care of yourself, you're ultimately taking care of the world around you as well. And if you ever find yourself feeling guilty or selfish for putting yourself first, just remember this: the greatest gift you can give to the world is a happy, healthy, authentic version of yourself. So don't be afraid to prioritize your own well-being, even if it means ruffling a few feathers along the way. Because at the end of the day, kindness isn't about being perfect or pleasing everyone around you. It's about being true to yourself and treating others with compassion and respect. And when you learn to balance those two things, you'll find that kindness becomes a source of strength and empowerment rather than a burden or a weakness. So let's all commit to being kind in a way that feels authentic and sustainable. Let's set boundaries, speak our truth, and take care of ourselves first. And let's trust that by doing so, we're creating a world that is kinder, more compassionate, and more connected than ever before. Thank you for listening to my story and my thoughts on this topic. I hope that my words have resonated with you in some way, and that you'll take them to heart as you navigate your own journey with kindness. Remember, you matter just as much as anyone else, and your own needs and desires are valid and important. So be kind to yourself and watch as that kindness ripples out into the world around you.